Hello everybody, welcome back to Red Tool House. Today's video we're going to do something a little different. I'm actually loading up, we're getting ready to go to camp, and at the point of recording this intro, it's almost New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, and I just want to give you all a shout out, say thank you so much for watching the channel. Hope you have a great new year, and I hope 2023 is better than any of the years we've had here recently. I was hoping I'd be standing out here in some snow and it'd be cold and kind of do this intro, but it's actually almost 70 degrees right now and I'm kind of hot. But anyway, the video you're going to see today is footage that I shot, Kelly and I shot back in August of this year. So that's why it's going to look so hot and sweaty and everything's green. But this is a property search we did. It was a little different. We met Ron, the guy interested in buying the land. We actually met him at the property, and this is way over in the eastern panhandle of West Virginia. It was a good 4-hour drive for us, I believe. But we met Ron. He was looking at this land. It was for sale. And being different, the fact that it wasn't just raw, undeveloped land. It actually had multiple structures on it. It had a well, had septic. It had all those type of things. So Ron, Kelly, and I walked the property. At one point we met with a realtor to actually see the details. But it had some unique situations, including a house that was not finished. The gentleman that owned it prior to, before his passing, was working on building that house a little at a time. So I want to detail all this for you. I'll do a little bit of narration, voiceover, and then stay tuned to the end and be an update, because a lot's happened since August when Ron and Kelly and I looked at this land. So Ron actually found this property first and reached out to us and wanted us to come tour it with him just to get our opinion, ask some questions about homesteading, and just get another set of eyes on it. So when we met him here, he had already seen the property once before. There had recently been an auction where all the interior equipment and supplies and things had been sold off as the previous owner had passed away. The property listed at 45 acres. It had the unfinished single-story house with an unfinished basement, had a small mobile home that was in disrepair, and one really nice workshop, big metal building, and then a nice three-sided metal building that you see in those original shots there. But we wanted to take a tour of the property itself and then eventually get inside the house and the buildings and check those out. So one of the first challenges, of course, since we didn't have any realtor or anybody there at that time, was really just to kind of figure out the history of the house, the condition of the house, even trying to figure out where the buried power drop was coming in. We saw the main line of the power coming in, assumed a buried line was coming into the meter, and just trying to figure out where utilities were. There was reported that there was a septic tank, so we spent some time looking around for that. The left side of the house here actually had, in the basement, you could see where the main drain line was coming out to that side of the yard. So we did some investigation. Even around that little cedar tree there was possibly some evidence of a septic tank. This single wide mobile home was in really bad shape, and it was our understanding that this is where the gentleman lived while he was trying to finish the house. He worked on the house for 20 plus years, building it as he could afford to do some of the steps to it. But the trailer was taking on water. It had a leaky roof. It had some rot in the floor and some issues there. Now, the house was not taking on any water. The roof was in really good shape. But since there was no siding on the house and had never been any, then the wall sheathing had really weathered quite a bit. And the sill plate, the floor joist, the subfloor, all of that was still good. But the sheathing, where it had been exposed to the sun so much, was really starting to weather. In fact, on the one side of the house, it was actually rotten. There was a small outbuilding in the back that it was just small storage, nothing crazy going on there, just a simple outbuilding. Now, this metal building, I really enjoyed it. It's, the three-sided metal building, great for storing equipment. You could put hay in here. There's just all kinds of options that Ron has with this building, and the way those beams are fashioned, you could support some load there if you wanted to do something there with some lift capabilities. But really nice three-bay, three-sided metal building. Now that the bench that the house and the trailer and the metal building sat on, set up above the creek. The front of the property had larger meadows, which you'll see in a bit. But we decided to take a walk out the bench here and see just what this bench looked like when it came to pasture. Ron is looking at getting some animals at some point and being able to have those on the farm as part of his homestead efforts. We noticed the soil around here was not great at all. Really, really rough. It's just, you could kind of tell the topsoil was just completely gone. But somebody had done some selective clearing in here in this stand of woods. So there is a decent amount of hardwoods that were left behind. A little bit of grass growing. Most of it, however, was stilt grass, so it wasn't any good pasture. I think if Ron thinned this out a little bit more and got some more sunlight in there, he'd get some more grass growing and maybe get some pigs or some cattle in here to intensively graze this to try to amend that soil a bit. As you went to the edge of the bench and looked over the front of the property, you had a pretty decent-sized stream. Now, the time we were shooting this in August, it was pretty dry, so that stream was dried up pretty good. But this elevation of the house was quite a bit higher than the stream, so no flood issues there. As we walked further out the property, near the edge of the property line, we just continued to see more thinner woods here, spread out a little bit more, but a lot of good hardwoods, a lot of hickory, shagbark hickory, mockernut hickory, some white oak, and various things like that. But again, the stilt grass, as you can see here in my hand, was really taken off in that spot. So it is what it is in that situation.
There's no bid. Raise it. Yep. Okay, they were up here. Somebody was with 2 motorcycle friends right here.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, there's pile tires there. But I think they're mounted.
As with any good farm, of course, there's going to be a junk pile. So you saw behind the buildings there where we had a pretty good pile of scrap metal and just various junk, tires, those type of things. But at least it was all concentrated, so cleaning it up wouldn't be that big a deal. As we walk behind the trailer on that same bench, you can see the pretty nice meadow opened up. There were some roads cut further up the mountain into the woods area, but really nice meadow to the side here. Now again, soil was pretty lousy. You could tell where this and then the main bottom meadows that we'll see here in a bit, you could tell where they have just been hayed for a very, very long time and doesn't look like anybody's done anything to amend them. So the soil was pretty bad. Now again, it was very dry while we were there. This part of the area was dealing in a little bit of a drought, but really nice, a lot of wide open space there to do some great farm planting in, would Ron choose to do so. Now this is the main stream. This road you see here, where this double culvert is, this is the main drive that comes up to the house and the other buildings from the main county road. So I want to get down here and take a look at this. Now this is definitely a homemade job, and the size of this creek, the potential of this creek when its water gets up, merited the need for a double culvert. And there's a lot of risk in that, of course. You can see how the debris jams up and problems it could possibly cause. But it appeared to have been there for a while, so not anything that's washed away anytime soon. Something Ron's going to want to do, of course, is maintain that and keep that debris out. This is the culvert from the watershed behind the buildings, so it actually is piped underneath those building area. As you can see, the bed was really dry, but something caught my eye. I couldn't quite figure out what this is, so I wanted to go up and investigate it. I wonder if that was I don't know what the heck that would be. It almost looks like it would be a spring house, but it's so big.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. We got a lot of little black pipe like drains underneath it.
And on the ground there, it looks like, oh, that's a floor maybe.
Yeah, the wall's falling apart, but yeah, the footer foundation here is pretty substantial. You can see the wall turned and went this way. Yeah. Oh, yeah? That's really weird. Maybe it had something to do with the original grade. Maybe there was, could have been a grist mill here. That's crazy. Now, I think this was probably one of the best assets of the property, and this is the meadow area at the front. The county road is on the hill there in front of us, and this is the driveway coming in. The excavator is right there by the culvert. So a lot of nice rolling pasture land. Now this would be, where I'm standing, would be floodplain for sure. I'm sure there's many times that that creek has gotten into this bottom. But you can see some nice walnuts providing great shade, access to the creek if you had livestock in that area. This is the upper portion of the property, upstream portion, looking down. So you can see the walnut trees there. As explained, a lot of hay cut. Here to the left, there was a ton. This was almost all locust. So some great fence post opportunities there. Clear that out. The county road is just there on the left, on the other side of the trees. But really nice, wide open space. Now, this backhoe, we were told, does not convey. It was part of the auction that sold, and the person hadn't picked it up yet. So Ron, unfortunately, doesn't have a toy here to play with, but it was interesting to see and check out before we moved on to the house. Yeah, you're definitely going to have to replace that sheathing because it's rotted too far. Too much wind must come up the valley this way. Beat against the house. Trusses are homemade, which is not a bad thing. It's just
With all the scabbing.
yeah, just homemade plates versus typical plates you'd have. Got started putting his batting in. Yeah, it is a shame to just stopped in the middle of it. So here's was a bathroom. So that's the tub. You can see the cutout in the floor downstairs of the tub for the drain. Yeah, probably utility closet. Like you said, bedroom, tiny little bedroom. I wouldn't call that a bedroom. I'd call that a closet. Yeah, I'd say 2-bedroom, not 3-bedroom. Yeah, that's tiny to be a bedroom. That's a good question. I don't know. Feels like it's just paper. Huh. Well, the good thing is, being trussed, nothing's load bearing, so you could start from scratch if you wanted to.
Say that again.
Well, since everything's trussed, none of these walls are technically load bearing. Unless he has skibs. But if the truss is built properly, that's the whole point of a truss, is it could be clear span. So none of these should be load bearing. Obviously I'd have an engineer confirm that, but if you wanted to come in and redo this, you don't have to come in and re-engineer. Yeah, you could just take out all your studying and say, okay, let's do a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom with a really nice master bath. Yeah, it's a
You
little
got a light on in your pocket, your left rear pocket.
What is it?
A light.
Oh, my flashlight, yeah. Well, we were finally able to get access to the last building on the property, and this was this was a shop worker's dream. This was a really nice building. It was insulated, had great lighting in it, of course, wired well, good electrical put in, even had a bathroom. It hadn't been framed out yet, but to the right here as we pan, you can see right behind Kelly there is a toilet. That toilet was actually installed and active and could have worked, but just needs a wall built around it, unless you're fine with being out in public and all that. But 2 nice garage doors. We found out that this area near the end, where you see the drain in the floor, was actually a paint booth. A guy had a pretty large paint booth in here, downdraft fan there in the drain, Apologize for the back and forth. I think I had the camera cradled in my arms as we were talking. But really nice opportunity. Ron is a machinist, so he's going to be able to take full advantage of all this space and be able to utilize this for many, many projects to come. So this was a definite win in my eyes. Garage bigger in the house is a bonus. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it was August when we went to shoot this video and walk the property with Ron. So he didn't own it at that point. Still kind of debating whether or not he wanted to purchase it. There was some negotiation with the price, of course. The structures being unfinished really kind of made some of that stuff a little tricky to figure out exactly how to do the best evaluation on it. In communicating with Ron, I actually spoke with him this week before releasing the video. I was excited to hear that he did buy the land, got the price that he wanted. So he has the 45 acres and has those 4 buildings. The trailer is really, I think, the only liability that he has. The rest of it is in fairly good shape. Now, he has been working this time on the house, and he's explaining that he's got a new roof on, he's got a lot of the wiring done, insulation, and those type of things, with a plan to move in the first quarter of 2023. Now, Ron is an out-of-stater, so since he doesn't live in West Virginia, he has to do a lot of traveling to come back and forth and work on it. But really neat to see how far he's come in it, from considering buying this land to purchasing it and really starting to make it his own. He will keep in touch with me, he promised, and I'm anxious to reach back out to him and see how it goes as he gets into the new growing season, and once he gets settled in, what he's going to do to try to develop that into a homestead. Well, I really appreciate Ron. That was a fun one. Usually we go to the property and we represent, we're the eyes for the person that's considering a piece of land. So it's usually just Kelly and I, or whomever, and I walking around and representing that individual. So we're their eyes on the land. This one I enjoyed doing, and getting to meet somebody, made a new friend, get to walk the piece of land, and just get to hear specifically what the person wants to do with it, and have that conversation about all the potential that you could have with a tract of land like this. Well, we really appreciate everybody watching. Comment below, let me know what you think about this style of video. Definitely different. It's something that's a little out of my comfort zone. Of course, being even here in my editing studio is not the best setup for good video. But I thought this would be interesting to share this footage with you all. All right, y'all take care.